Hi, I'm Heather, and I'm gonna review some books. This is just weird and awkward, but it's okay. Weird and awkward can become comfortable. That's fine. This is fine. I'm gonna be sad if I don't do this in a couple months. I gotta do uncomfortable things so that then I can do more uncomfortable things and then find the things that bring me joy. Let's talk about some books that I read last month. And by some, I mean the books that I read last month. I am not a fast reader. Never have been. Definitely, like when I was in grade school, ended up being put into the slow reading group. And ever since that happened, like in like second or third grade, like I got kind of obsessed with reading, loved it, made it a hobby, and it was something that like I turned around, eventually was able to take like AP English courses and stuff like that in high school. So speed reading, I can do that like from audio version, skim documents and things like that pretty quickly, certain contexts. Actual reading for enjoyment, I'm not gonna be able to get through it fast unless I'm doing an immersive reading or I'm really into the story. Then it starts flying. But like, I think when I first began reading, and I'm sure this is the way that it is for a lot of people, I have to ramp up into it because like I overthink what I'm doing, right? Like I know how to read, but I'll be like reading every freaking word. That's fine, because eventually you get into the story and then you don't even realize that you're reading and you're just like pictures, right? And I guess kind of in a weird way, like that's kind of like what I'm doing right now with this. Like I'm really, when I think about it, like, oh, I'm talking to a camera. This is so freaking awkward. I don't like it, but like it's kind of just once I start doing it, maybe it's just like gonna be cool, whatever. So reading. I'm not your girl if you want somebody that reads like 50 books in a week. If I get one book done in a week, amazing. Give me a prize. I will read like every day. Might not be like a couple hours or anything like that, but like I read. Who knows? Maybe I'll be inspired and read a ton. And some of these books that I'm going to discuss are kind of a little bit of a cheat in saying that like I read them last month. Some of them, the whole entire book during that period of time. A lot of these, I have been working on this for months. Sometimes like over half a year. I'm just like, I need this done. Here we go. So the first book that I finished, 2025, was The Road by Cormac McCarthy. It was a little bit odd, like for the first like 10-ish pages for me, because they didn't use quotation marks for when they were talking. There was a period of learning of, oh, this is actual dialogue. This is a formatting. This is how they're going to express it. All right. And then letting go of like, I'm not going to know what's going on. I don't know how we got to the end of the world the way it is, and accepting like that's fine. I can make guesses. Maybe a mega volcano erupted, or maybe I missed it. I was like, okay, like that's fine. It's okay. I don't know that. I'm not in control. Just keep going. Just keep going. The whole thing is really sad, right? Like, I mean, it's the end of the world, and this father and his son, they are traveling, and it's not the beginning of their travels where, you know, there's plenty of things to pillage and eat and things like that. They've been on a journey for quite some time, and they're to the point where it's hard to find a can of food. It's a miracle to, you know, find XYZ. Any fruits, veg that would have been around, gone. There's not really plants growing. Like there's no animals. Like it's It's dark. I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed the book, like, for what it was. Pulled at the heartstrings. You don't know if your narrator is, like, reliable. So do both of them exist? I don't know. You want to read about a father and son traversing really dark things happening. Maybe the road is for you to pick up. For me, I definitely don't regret reading it. The next book, this is the one that I started reading, I believe it was in July of last year. And man, I thought it was gonna be like, I was gonna zoom through it. It was gonna be great. Like, I was gonna love it. Like, I was gonna read everything by this author, you know, even though I've never read anything from this author, right? And then I found out some news about the author, like, later on. Gosh, it's a mess. Anyway, I spent way too many months with this book. Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. You might know him as the author of, like, Coraline. Originally it was going to be like a buddy read type of situation, and then turned into like just a me reading thing. Maybe I could have gotten through it a little bit easier if I had that push. I don't know. I guess I enjoyed it. I just was, maybe it was more so like my life. Like, it wasn't like the time that I needed this particular book. Eventually, I was able to just kind of force myself through it with listening and reading it. Oddly enough, I really like a mini story at the back. I like that a lot more than the book itself, but like, I wouldn't have known that character if I didn't read the book. Let me just kind of set you up for it. There's two Londons. There's like an upper London and a lower London. The upper London is like London how it is like for us, like if we were there. Lower London literally is underground. Somebody from the upper world ends up thrown into the lower world, and like they don't really interact with each other except for like through certain people. So like you basically become invisible. It gives me like kind of Addie LaRue vibes by V.E. Schwab. And I get like what they're trying to go for. Undesirables, unseen people of London, like cool, like really artsy way of doing that. But I don't know, like the story itself, I don't know, it had me laughing at times though, too. Maybe I don't know what I like. Like after reading it, like I was entertained. I enjoyed the premise. I enjoyed how it ended. And it was freaking hilarious at times. Neil Gaiman, he really would just be in the middle of something and then like just something hilarious would happen. Like, and I like that. Like, this was not the book for me when I was reading it. It was a good ride, and it was nostalgic. Like, there were places that I remember visiting, like when I was in London for a couple of months. Let me let my cat in. You get in here? Yeah, right now. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have a helper. But I was hoping, like, I'm like, you know, I would revisit his work. Like, it's fun. Like, it's like I'm enjoying it. Like, off the cuff, like comments, like little funny like bits, like that's great. Like, I'll just do another one of his books later on at a different time in my life, and like I think I could enjoy that. Like, I think that might be like my forte when I'm in that like kind of mind space or whatever. Unfortunately though, I guess he has allegations of I think sexual harassment or something like that, and I'm just like, that left a bad taste in my mouth, basically, because it's like I forced myself through that book, right? And like I should have just DNF'd it. I really should. And I think the remorse is there, like, for like, why did I just do that? Because now I'm like, I don't even want to read any of it. Like, I don't even know, like, I don't even think I want this book now, even though shamefully I bought it because it looked cool. Like, this is why I wanted to read this, like, for a little buddy read that we're gonna do. I wanted to read this book of all of them because I'm like, look at how cool that is. Like, ooh, look at that. That's so neat. Like, that book is like, ooh, so cute. And then you gotta go, like, I forced myself through the whole entire book. All I can think about is how long it took me. And that's the other thing. Like, look at this. This looks like a teeny tiny book, right? Like, yes, it's thick, but like, she's tiny. Like, it's a tiny book, like, compared to like this one, teeny tiny. And it took me forever. Then you gotta go be doing inappropriate things. I need a breath of fresh air from that though, and just not worry about it. There are so many other books I want to read. Like, we're good, right? Like, it is what it is. Like inherently, like, it's fine. It's cool. So this is a weird one. Tender as the Flesh. I have wanted to read this for years, like, since it came out. I kept on like putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. This is another one where I was like, oh, it's gonna be so quick. She's so short. Like, I enjoyed it. I did not take into account the need to take in the information. Like, if you don't know about this book, basically there's this virus, or maybe there's not, you can get sick from their meat, kind of like a mad cow disease. That's kind of how I imagined it. Well, anyway, they end up having to kill off all of the animals. Like, all animals are gone. We're talking about farm animals, all of that. People go crazy because there's no meat and everybody wants meat. They end up basically creating farms for people and like legalize cannibalism, and then come up with words and phrasing and I don't know if you'd say like theology and things like that make it okay to do that, and basically just start breeding people, taking out their vocal cords and things like that, so that then they are seen as a different species altogether. It's a good book. Like, don't get me wrong, it is a good book. Some of the scenes, like, I needed some breaks while I read it. Understandably, because I mean, it's a hard topic, it's dense material, and you are going to need time to digest. Digest is not the word. Ugh. Maybe it is the. Ugh. Anyway, you're going to need some time to kind of take in everything and like comprehend and like put your thoughts together on how you feel about all that, right? Did not take that into account while I was reading it. Thought it was going to be like a day book, like one sitting type of thing. No, definitely not. But I don't know. It was weird. It gave me like literally made me feel sick at times, which I think is that's really good. Like, that's good talent to be able to make me sick. It's weird that I'm like applauding it for that, but like it did what it was aiming to do. So like, I can't be upset. The end, like I hated the end at first, but the more that I sit on it, I'm like, it makes sense though, right? Like, it really does make sense. It's definitely not for everyone. That book is not for everyone. Just like The Road wouldn't be for similar reasons, would not be for everyone. That I'm just thinking about it, I'm like, those universes had some similarities. Actually, that's kind of crazy. Anyway, I guess trigger warning for cannibalism. So there's that. One that I did get through very quickly because it was a reread and I decided to do like an immersive reading situation with was Station 11. This is a reread Oh, I love this book so much. I think it's because it's just a good book. Like, this is one of those things where like when I first got like super back into reading, because I had like a period of time in college where like I pretty much didn't really have the opportunity to read much at all. Like, I really loved reading like in high school, in middle school and things like that. Like, I loved it. College happened, reading kind of died out, and then afterwards I was like, shoot, I have more than just student. Shoot, what were my hobbies before I was student? And now we're like what, like almost 10 years past that, and I'm just like, holy shit, like I still don't know. Like, I still don't like allow myself to do the things that I enjoy or know like what I love. Anyway, back on topic. Station 11. I read this during the pandemic the first time, and it has a lot of like crossover. This was written, or at least released in 2014, I want to say. We're just gonna go with that. It was way before the pandemic ever happened. Probably inspired by like SARS or something like, yeah, definitely. Kind of similar to what we went through, except the latency period is a lot quicker. They come in contact with somebody and they're dying in like 4 hours after that. And it spreads like wildfire. Multiple points of view. So you're dealing with like pre-pandemic issues, like the pandemic actively happening, and then way post-pandemic. The pre-pandemic period, you're like following this actor, so like you're getting a little bit of the drama of his life, except like struggling artist becomes big artist, has a family, many wives, like you kind of get like that kind of drama from that. During the actual pandemic, it's actually that main character kind of starts that one off by being in a play and like dying on stage. Not even of the flu that they are talking about in here, the Georgia flu. I believe he had like a heart attack. None of his life was part of the pandemic, but he's still tied to like everyone in the other stories, whether that's the person that tried to give him CPR, one of his ex-wives, a little girl that was in the play with him. You find out that different people have connections to other people and how all the stories interweave together. I understand why people love this book. I reread this because one of the book clubs that I'm in, they were reading it, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I have to go to the book club. Then I was like, you know what, we're gonna do a reread. And I'm happy I did. And I enjoyed it a lot. And I hope in the future I'll reread it again and enjoy it a lot then too. The last book that I finished was for a different book club with two of my friends in Indiana. And that is Circe by Madeline Miller. Probably up to like, I know definitely the first like 2 to 3 chapters, I was like, it's not gonna work. This is not gonna work for me at all. Nothing was happening, but like everything was happening and all these people were being introduced. Am I supposed to know these people? Am I a freaking idiot? Like, am I missing something? Am I supposed to be knowing all of this? Like, no. no like, it's fine. Like, it's fine. Just keep going. Just keep going. And then, you know what, right around, I want to say like chapter 8 or so, everything kind of went down a single path, and it was fine, and it was fun, and it was a good moment. I went into it blind. I mean, as blind as you can with Greek mythology. Even if you don't know all the stories, you do, because like there's everything is like a repeat of itself, right? Like, I mean, it's impossible to not like subconsciously know some of the stories, right? Like, and it's what it is. Like, I had to read the Odyssey in high school. Do I remember anything from that? No. So I thought until I started reading it. Then I was like, oh, I know that guy. Like, you know, like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid, but I would get so excited. Like, she'd interact with someone and I'd be like, I know him. It was funny, but it was like, oh, I know them too. Circe is one of these characters. Like, I didn't know anything about her story. I didn't really know about her mythology or anything like that. Apparently now I do. I probably know more than I care to, but like, it was a good ride. Like, I didn't know she was a witch. Like, I literally just went into this like completely blind, other than knowing, ooh, mythology, retelling. But yeah, at the beginning I was like, I don't like this. Absolutely, I don't like this. Even as I read it, I was like, I don't like this, but I just couldn't put it down. Like, once it got to like chapter, I think it was like 8, like, and we end up going to her little island or whatever, and she's like super into pharmacos or whatever. Girl, what? You're gonna be messing with herbs? You're gonna be making your own medicine? Hell yeah, that's gonna be me. Like, that is what I'm about. Once we got to that point, I like just couldn't stop devouring it. And like, I like built this whole island up in my mind, and what her house looked like and everything like that. And it was just like, it was just such a great place to be at. Like, I know she's trapped there, so that's not great. But like, in my mind, I freaking loved the island that she lived on. But I get like being stuck there until the end of eternity without being able to really leave. Okay, fair. Didn't think I was gonna be one of the girlies, but I guess I am one of the girlies that like that one. So yeah, mythological retelling of Circe, the half goddess, half nymph, ended up being pretty good. So yeah, so that is January, and that is my first wrap up. Hope that, I don't know, like, it sticks. It was kind of fun. Thank you. I hope you got something out of this, whether that's some escapism from the world, maybe you got a laugh, a smile. I encourage you to do something that makes you uncomfortable. That's good. Don't stab someone. Is there something that you've been wanting to do, that you've wanted to try? Go do it. I don't know you, but I have faith. They're pretty awesome. And if you stayed this long, I don't understand, but I appreciate it. And we should be friends. Leave a comment. Hope that you read an awesome book and you DNF a book when you feel that you want to DNF a book. Bye.